Hello, students. How have you been? I hope you guys are okay. My name is Janaína, and I'll be with you in this lesson. Let's start with it. Today, you will learn how to use comparative and superlative forms of adjectives. But first, let's talk about game shows. You guys watched the video Around the World. Actually, that was a game show. And game shows are very popular around the world. What's your opinion? Are you into game shows? What are some game shows on TV in your country? Which ones are the most popular? Which ones do you like to watch? Please, students, answer these questions. Okay, now let's test your knowledge of geography. I have some questions for you. Oh, by the way, do you like geography? It is an interesting subject, isn't it? Okay, question number 1. Which is longer, the Nile River or the Amazon River? The correct answer is the Nile River. Question number 2. Which is the largest desert in Asia? Is it the Great Indian Desert or the Gobi Desert? If you answered the Gobi Desert, you are right. Well done, students. Okay, today's lesson will focus on making comparisons using comparative and superlative adjectives. Comparatives and superlatives are used to compare people, places, or things. We'll start with comparative adjectives. Comparatives. We can compare nouns with adjectives. I brought 2 adjectives to give you examples: long and popular. The Nile River is longer than the Amazon River. New York is more popular than Australia. Longer than and more popular than. As you can see, we have 2 different kinds of structures. Okay? So now let's understand the difference between them. Well, it's important to know, students, that we have 2 different kinds of adjectives. Adjectives that are considered short, so we have short adjectives and long adjectives, okay? So if you have a short adjective, like tall, for example, right? Short adjectives usually have 1 syllable, right? They usually have 1 syllable. So if you have a short adjective, you need to add ER, right? You need to add ER. So tall becomes taller. And what does ER mean? It means more, okay? It means more. However, you can't use more with this type of adjective. Instead, use ER. Tall becomes taller. Long, longer. Young, younger. Fast turns to faster. Please read some examples. She's faster than me. My brother is younger than me. John is tall, but Peter looks taller. Another important point, students, is the use of than, the word than, okay? Well, this word is used to introduce a second element in a comparison. So I have she's running faster than me. So to introduce this second element, right, I use the word than. My brother is younger than me. John is tall, but Peter looks taller. In this example, I didn't use then, the word then, because it is clear who I am comparing Peter to. I'm comparing Peter to John. So I can omit the word then. Now let's check a second rule. Double. Double the consonant in the following words. So if you have adjectives such as hot, big, fat, or slim, right, you need to double their last consonant, right? The last consonant needs to be doubled, right? So hot becomes hotter. And why does this happen? Students, it happens because we have an adjective that has this ending, consonant, vowel, consonant. Okay, so when this happens, I need to double its last letter, its last consonant. So big becomes bigger, fat, fatter, slim is slimmer. Let's check some examples. Jim is slimmer than Bill. Your country is hotter than my country. Your hamburger is big, but mine is bigger. If an adjective has two syllables and its last letter is Y, change the Y to IER to make the comparative form. Okay, students, read this example here. Happy, the word happy, the adjective happy ends with letter Y. So what I need to do here is to change the letter Y to I and add ER. So happy, happier. Heavy turns to heavier. Early becomes earlier. And sunny, sunnier. Okay. Here, it's cloudier now than this morning. Cloudier. I'm angry, but your father, oops, but your father is angrier. I think English is easier than math. Well, for longer adjectives, right, the comparative form uses more, right, students? Now the rule is different, okay? So if you have a long adjective, use more to compare. Here I have the word interesting, the adjective interesting. It is long, students. For example, interesting has 3 syllables, right? Interesting. So the way I'm going to compare is more, using the word more interesting. I have more careful, more important, more expensive. Let's read some examples. This food tastes more delicious. Your job is more dangerous than my job. Please be more careful. Here, students, some adjectives have irregular comparative forms, okay? So when we have adjectives such as good, bad, or far, right? I mean, with these adjectives, the comparative form is different, right? It is irregular. We need to use an irregular form. So good becomes better. Bad turns to worse. And far becomes farther or further, right? What I mean, students, is that I can't use ER, right? And I can't use more either. No, 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 they can't be used, okay? They have a different form, an irregular form. Let me show you an example. The weather is better today. Better, okay? Good becomes better. Now let's talk about superlatives, okay? Students, superlative is another way we can change an adjective. And what does it mean? Well, it means it's something is number one in a group. Well, we use the superlative form of an adjective with three or more things. Three or more things. Again, students using the same adjectives, long and popular. Let's check examples. The Nile River is the longest river in the world. I can say New York is the most popular city in my opinion. So the longest, the most popular, two different structures. Let's work how we can work with them. And the rules, students, are very similar, right? The rules for comparatives and superlatives are similar. So if you have a short adjective, right? The rule says add est to adjectives with one syllable to make the superlative form. So that's what happens. Tall becomes the tallest. You see, students? Here, we need to use the, right? The article the, and add est to the adjective. The tallest. Long becomes the longest. Young, the youngest. And fast, the fastest. Okay? Let's check examples. She's the fastest runner I know. My brother is the tallest person in my family. If you have an adjective that ends in a consonant, vowel, consonant, you need to double write the last consonant. And this time you're going to add the and est, right? As it is a superlative form. So hot becomes the hottest, big, the biggest, fat, the fattest, and slim, the slimmest. Let's read some examples. Today is the hottest day of the year. The biggest country in the world is China. Now, if an adjective has two syllables, students, two syllables, and its last letter is letter Y, change this letter Y to IEST to make the superlative form. So, here, using the same example as for a comparative form, happy, here it became the happiest, the happiest. I used the article the, changed letter Y to letter I, and added est, the happiest. Heavy became the heaviest. Early turned to the earliest. And sunny, the sunniest. So this is the happiest moment in my life. It was one of the heaviest rain I've ever seen. For longer adjectives, the superlative form uses the most, students, right? When we need to use a comparative form, the word is more, right? When you need to use a superlative form, you need to use the most, right? Let's see here. Interesting became the most interesting. Careful, the most careful. Important, the most important. And expensive, the most expensive. Here, examples. The most interesting TV program for me is The Voice. Ferrari is one of the most expensive cars. Some adjectives have irregular superlative forms too, right? The adjectives you already know, right? Good, bad, and far. And their superlative forms are the best, the worst, and the farthest or furthest. Okay. Examples. Neymar is the best soccer player in the world. That's the worst movie of all time. Exceptions. Students, we have some exceptions, right? With adjectives such as friendly, simple, quiet, narrow, and clear, you can use both structures studied, right? Both comparative or superlative adjective. For example, friendly becomes more friendly or friendlier. You can use both forms, they are correct. Simple, more simple or simpler. For the adjective quiet, you can say more quiet or quieter. Narrow, more narrow or narrower. Clear becomes more clear or clearer. Now, if you need to use a superlative form, you can use both forms too. So I can say the most friendly or the friendliest. We can say the most simple or the simplest. The most quiet or the quietest. We can say the most narrow or the narrowest. We can use the most clear or the clearest. And here, students, you have a summary of the rules studied, right? So if you need to check, if you have questions, right, you can use this table to help. That's all, students. Thank you for your attention.